It's Friday night, everybody. You know what that means. It's Friday night. Let's have some fun. Let's get together and play a ton.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Jon.
And we're
Friday Night
Games Night Friday. We are two board game enthusiasts who want to immerse you into our love of the hobby.
In today's episode, we are going to go over a couple games released this year that have made the games that came before them a little bit more appealing. And then we'll talk about a few of our favorite Streamlined games.
Whoa. What does streamline mean?
Streamlining is when you take something and simplify it to make it more efficient or profitable.
That's it?
Yeah, so...
Like it's easier to play or like...
Easier to play, easier to learn. With those parameters set, we'll live in that bubble right there. Let's get into a couple...
Whoa, I want to go back.
Wait, come on. I don't want to go in any bubbles.
Hold on. What do you mean it's more profitable? You mean it's like how does it become more profitable?
Well, this is the Wikipedia definition. Okay, I stole this from the internet.
Well, let's go into this a bit here.
So when you take something and simplify it, make it more efficient, more profitable. So if you look in the world of board games, if you're taking something and a game and streamlining it, so we'll take an example of a game we're going to talk about anyway. So like Gloomhaven, this giant of a game that I'm scared to even look at it. And then this year they released a smaller version of the game, Jaws of the Lion, right? So doubt Jaws of the Lion is ever going to outsell the original Gloomhaven game, but you're now introducing Gloomhaven to a group of people who may not have gotten into the game because of the fact that that game was so big and so heavy.
So what you're trying to tell me is that the one game is very complicated, so they made things easier to get into or something, and because of that, they're going to sell more to the non-gamers, which equals profit.
Right.
Bling.
Cha-ching. So when we live in that bubble of that definition, let's dive into it. So as I mentioned before, Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion came out this year. Why is it that you think we haven't played Gloomhaven as a Friday Night Games game group? Because I know it's been talked about. And,
okay, so
there's interest.
Yeah, there is. I almost bought Gloomhaven. So there's a couple things, right? So I almost bought Gloomhaven to play solo,
right? Because
I know that as a group, we'll never get through it. We never even got through. Campaigns 1 and 2 of my Dungeons and Dragons. I used to be the dungeon master for our campaigns. We never got through like 3 scenarios of like 50 scenarios. How are we going to get through 30 different chapters of the regular Gloomhaven? It's never going to happen.
Right.
Unless we played it. I mean, if we did play it every week, which we don't, we're not set up for that anymore, right? We play a lot of different games to for this podcast, really, for our own knowledge in this podcast. But it's like, so that's one, I don't have time. 2, it's very expensive, right? It's $200 Canadian. And even if you I'm going to order from 401 Games, so it's still $150 whatever taxes, probably like $180, right? $1 million because it's Canadian. So you have to factor that. It's expensive. And then it's complicated. Right? It's not just like an easy read. It's not like I can just open up the instruction manual and 30 minutes later I'm going to be able to play. No, it's like, hey, I have to sit here and read something similar to a Dungeons and Dragons manual, which if you've ever seen as a textbook, like think of your math textbook in university or
if you ever
college.
go to the bookstore, they've got a whole shelf dedicated to Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder.
They do, but the core rule book is huge.
Right.
So, you're not going to sit down and okay, everybody, page 1 of 1,000. Here's how you create a character. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen.
All right, Matt. So what do you think makes Gloomhaven so appealing to a mass audience, in your opinion?
I think it's because a lot of people like Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
So let's just note that it's ranked number 1 on BGG, and
that is true.
Been that for several, I wouldn't say maybe years.
Yeah,
year
as far as I'm aware of. Yeah.
Yeah, as far back as we've been mining the hot data, it's been 1 or 2 at least. I think people like Dungeons and Dragons. And Gloomhaven gives you that Dungeons and Dragons dungeon experience very easily. I'm just going to say this right away. I haven't played the game for the daunting reasons I said earlier, but I know enough. I know a little bit about it. So the whole idea behind it's a huge RPG legacy game. So if you're into RPGs and you don't want to spend your time doing Dungeons and Dragons, then you're probably going to do this. And this actually might lead into Dungeons and Dragons. That's my thought why people love the game.
Yeah, I think like, the people that love Gloomhaven, it's just something that their core group does. And that's just, they start from this first scenario and they work their way through to the last one. It's kind of like in my eyes, maybe like a feat or something,
Well, it's it's definitely a legacy.
Yeah. So I feel like it's like, climbing that Mount Everest of board games or something, like because it's number one on Board Game Geek, and it's kind of like, maybe I don't know if this is the right wording for it, but the quote unquote holy grail of games, right? It's like, oh yeah, I beat that. I did that. That was the thing I did, right? And yeah, and the same thing how you're saying, like, we just don't have the time to play it, and I wish we did, because I would really like to get into it.
Well, it reminds me of we have a mutual friend on Facebook from our childhood,
right?
And he was saying he was playing through. He plans to play through it with his friends, but they plan to play through it over like a year.
So, how do you think Jaws of the Lion differs from the base game? Do you have any clue? I know you haven't played it.
This is kind of fun. I haven't played either game,
yeah.
So.
Put Matt on the spot here.
Well, hold on. So, okay, this is all about being streamlined.
Right.
So, I'm assuming character creation is probably easier.
Yep.
Okay, I'm assuming setup is really easy.
It's easier.
Still a lot.
I'm going.
How long did it take you to set up?
I'm going through. I've never played the game before, so I'm going into it brand new.
Okay, right, hold on. But you played it. You played at least seven of these rounds, right, of the game. I know you haven't had time to get through all of them, but okay. So how long did it take you the first time?
Well, let me maybe walk you through my opening the box.
Okay.
A little bit. So when you open Jaws of the Lion, there's a couple pages on the top that really tell you like what the components are for, how to organize them, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, punch these guys out, put them in this spot. Punch these guys out, put them in this spot. And the whole beginning of the setup was long, because there's like, I forget how many like boards you have to punch out, like just the initial setup of organizing everything, took a long time. So, but really like the scenarios, depending, I think the first scenario took about maybe an hour to get through, but I was going slow. Like I was like, everything I did, I was making sure I was following the rules properly. That's what's really cool about it, because, there's 25 scenarios in the box. The first 5 walk you through the rules. So this is what you need to know to get through this first scenario, build upon it on the second, build on the third, blah, blah, blah. And then after the 5th, you've got all the rules you need to know for the game. I think that's a new part of it, where they kind of streamline the rules that way to make it easier to get into the game. I know that there is like an initiative token. So when you're starting your scenario, I think you roll to... roll for initiative, and then that's the turn order for the game, whether it be the monsters go first or the characters you have chosen. I guess there is, in the original game, there's like a travel event that I guess gets destroyed in the game. And then Jaws of the Lion, there's a city deck that's used, but that doesn't get destroyed. So yeah, those are some of the differences that I read about, trying to compare the two games together. So, for me to come in to Gloomhaven blind, it really took that initial, I don't want to say fear, or maybe like the initial hesitation of trying out Gloomhaven.
So you think like now that you've tried out Jaws of the Lion, you could go play the
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that was pretty cool. And I really enjoyed myself, and I've been playing it solo, right? So I'm able to take my time with it and not worry about, anyone else's time.
The groups, yeah.
Time schedule, right? So,
hold on. So, okay. So back to my original question.
Right.
It takes you how long? So it took you, your first time took you a long time.
It took me a long time to set up and get into
it.
An hour and a half, I think, yeah.
Okay. So what about when you played like your 5th game?
It depends on like how much space I put in between playing the scenarios. So I know when I played the last time, it was, I probably a month between the last scenario, so I kind of like had to reread the rules again. But the setup's pretty easy. So the maps are in a book, and that's your map for the game, for the scenario. So you got like, a page and a half, and there's some like additional maps you can add on to it later on in the game. But you set up the monsters that you're fighting based on how many players are playing, and go from there. Like it's pretty easy to set up. Probably make 10 minutes to get everything set
10
up.
minutes. Oh, that's pretty fast.
And then you can really just get into it.
You're saying it took you a while because with the month between, you had to you had to remember what you're doing. So you had to re-jog your memory. So it probably took like an hour.
Yeah, I'm just reading through everything again and making sure that I didn't screw up the rules.
Oh, yeah.
A couple scenarios back, that's going to mess up my future gameplay, right?
Gotcha.
Because you have to choose, when you're playing solo, you have to choose 2 characters. And the characters all do drastically different things that you're all going to need at some point in the game. So it's like trying to juggle who's going to do what, right? So, but yeah. That's my Gloomhaven, and it's cheaper.
I think that is it only $50?
It's only like $50, yeah.
Which is pretty awesome considering the real Gloomhaven is, like I said, I think that's like $150 minimum. And I've seen it at our local board game store for like $200. So, oh, by the way, how'd you get the copy of Jaws of the Lion?
Okay, so I got the copy from Sol and Wong from our local game store, Tabletop Renaissance here in Windsor, Ontario. So if you're ever in the area, please check out Tabletop Renaissance down on the west end side of the city on Wyandotte Street. It'd be awesome. He gave us a game to play it and promote his store. He can promote our podcasts and social medias and stuff like that. So it's been pretty cool. So I appreciate it, Solon, for giving us the game to play. I'm really enjoying it, and hope to pass it down to Matt someday. If Matt will ever get time to play it. I have a hard time playing because I've got kids, right? So
I got through 12 hours of Maracaibo the other day, so
good for you.
Yeah, I know.
So you blast through this game.
No kids.
So yeah, that's Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. I think it's a really cool thing that they did that, to ease people that normally probably wouldn't get the actual Gloomhaven game, ease them into the game, to the lore of the Gloomhaven. So check it out if you get a chance. All right, so Matt, what was the game we were recently gifted to play and feature on our channels and podcasts and stuff? So
big shout out to Ravensburger for supplying us with a review copy of the Castles of Tuscany,
right,
by Alea Games.
You're the expert in our group of Burgundy, Castles of Burgundy.
I am?
Yeah. Let's talk about Castles of Burgundy before we get into Tuscany a little bit, and maybe kind of set up what the game's about, so we can discuss the differences here.
All right, so Castles in Burgundy by Alea Games and distributed by Ravensburger in North America is simply a dice game and then tile drafting, tile placement game.
Okay.
And you're essentially getting points by completing areas of the same color or adding tiles to all the colors on your map.
Okay.
Now, it is a Euro game, so the theme doesn't really matter, but the theme in this case is creating a duchy, which is a castle with existing lands around it. Awesome. And you might have farms, you might have special tiles, you might have water tiles, which are like trade routes. I don't want to get too into it. You can look it up. It's actually a very complex game. In fact, all the yellow tiles have something different, and you literally have to have the rule book next to you to figure it out. But anyways, the whole point is that you're drafting tiles, and on your turn, you have 2 dice. You roll the dice, and that symbolizes the 2 actions you could take. And then, so when you draft, you can only draft around a board that match your dice. And when you place a tile, so that goes into your, what I call the keys section on your board.
Yeah.
And then you have to use a dice to move those onto your board, which also must have a matching dice roll. And then the high score wins at the end of 25 rounds. There's 5 phases and 25 rounds. And the phases give you, if you complete a color earlier, you get more points, basically.
Cool.
So was that easy to know? Was that super easy to understand?
Yes.
You can't see us winking.
Wink. Wink, wink. All right, so thanks for giving us the recap of Burgundy, Matt. So if you remember, I know we played it a bunch of times, so it should be good, but Can you rock me through Castle of Tuscany a little bit?
Yes, I can. So Castles of Tuscany by Alea Games and also distributed by Ravensburger in North America is essentially Castles of Burgundy. Done.
There you
Is
go.
that good? No, okay. So we're not going to get into everything we'll get into similarities and differences in a second, but basically you don't use dice anymore. You're drafting tiles from a set visible group of tiles that are there. To draft a tile, you literally have to you take the tile and put it into your key section, just like Burgundy, and then you put a tile from your pile on the board. So you're going to have 21 tiles in front of you, 3 piles of 7. And then once a pile of 7 runs out, that's a round, and then everyone takes their last turn, and then a new round starts. But there's nothing really different in a new round.
Right.
And then, so similarly, on your turn, I mentioned you could take a tile. You could also play a tile. That's your other action, or you could draw cards. Right. You have to do one of those 3 things. And then the tiles all do different things, but it's nowhere near as complicated as Burgundy.
Thank you for breaking down Tuscany for us. So there's a couple big differences that I noticed right away. Obviously, there's no dice in the Castle of Tuscany. And, the setup for Tuscany, you have I know in Burgundy you have these like big player boards with like a land mass that you have to fill in. And in Tuscany, you got like kind of 3 little kind of hexagonal grids that you kind of piece together, little like modular board, which I thought was pretty neat. And the tiles. So the tiles in Tuscany, they all give you special bonuses when you play them, which was pretty powerful to use and to strategize while you're playing the game. So when you're looking at the tiles, there's a dark green, so that's your castle pieces. When you play that in Tuscany, you take a tile from any tile from the supply and add it to your town.
Right. Whereas in Burgundy, you basically get another free action with a wild dice.
Nice.
It's like a dice roll of anything that you get to use right away.
And then there's a red tile in Tuscany. So in Tuscany, you kind of have like a player board that gives you, and on the side you have like different tiles that you can play that give you more bonuses, like drawing cards, extra storage for your hex pieces, marble for extra turns, workers, and then perk cards. So when you play a red card, you get to take an extra tile and add it to your board.
Right,
to
extra
give you more
bonuses. Whereas it's really interesting in Burgundy, you don't have any of those bonuses.
Right.
You just have what you have. And I guess it's simulated a little bit by pulling out the beige tiles in Burgundy. Beige tiles in Burgundy are town tiles.
Right.
Are building tiles, and they all have different effects.
Oh yeah, they all have different bonuses.
Right. It's like a combination of red meets the bonus tiles meets like something else in there.
And then you've got kind of like water tiles, I would say, blue tiles in Tuscany that give you a kind of a wild hexagon piece, which is pretty cool.
Right. While in Burgundy, there's a whole nother rule of trading. It's a whole other set of tiles. So the blue or the river lets you collect a warehouse storage of these tiles and then put them into your cash to be sold using a dice turn later on.
Nice.
So it's pretty complicated.
Then the agriculture tiles, the light green ones, they give you points based on the different terrains that you're putting down.
That's the same. Almost
the same. So this one you're looking at, you want to put different terrains down in your sections when you're playing. But in Burgundy, you're playing animals, and you're trying to add as much of the same animal as possible for those points. And then you've got the dark gray tile, which gives you, in this game, like a piece of marble, which gives you another action.
Right. Well, the dark gray mines are also in Burgundy. They give you an extra silver coin.
And
which I guess I should mention that there's black tiles in the center that you can buy using the coins.
Nice. And then the yellow coin or yellow tiles in Tuscany, which I noticed this difference right away when we played Burgundy after, is that The yellow tiles in Tuscany don't have random actions or random bonuses on them. All these do allow you to draw cards.
Yeah, so in Burgundy, they call them the monastery tile. That's yellow.
Yeah.
They all have different bonuses on them, which basically affect the whole game for you specifically,
Right.
or can give you a whole lot of points at the end of the game.
Right. And then there's orange tiles in Tuscany that provide you with workers, and workers help you. So when you're trying to place tiles in Tuscany, you have a deck of cards, you have a hand of cards, and you have to match two of the same color to lay that color tile, or mix and match colors to replace the color you're trying to go for. So a worker replaces a card essentially, and then there's like a beigeish green tile in Tuscany that gives you a perk. So there's like special perk cards. So when you play that, you flip the perk card and get the whatever perk there is, whether it's extra points or drawing more cards.
So beige exists in Burgundy also, but in a different sense. It's building, and buildings give you a lot of them give you bonuses right when you play them.
Mm-hmm.
But different than the perk cards, for sure. We should go into the streamline differences.
Right. Okay.
Let's do that.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay. Well, okay. So the first things first, setup is way easier.
Right.
When I actually did the setup of Burgundy, and it took like half an hour. And it took half an hour because there are a lot of tiles, and you have to lay them all out and then stack them by color so that you remember where they are, so that you can place them on the board.
Right.
So it doesn't take long. But it's still, I feel like it still takes, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But still, like, that's after I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Right? If I didn't know what I was doing, it would take a lot longer.
Yeah, and I felt like with Tuscany, like the setup was pretty much, here you go, put these things here, and we're good.
Honestly, when we did the live stream of Tuscany, it was like, I think I set that one up. No, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It took like no time at all.
Right.
We literally just like, oh, here we are, we're playing.
Yeah.
Actually kind of blew me away. Which leads to the next topic of the time.
Right.
So
we played Tuscany and Burgundy with the same 3 players. So
yes,
myself, you, and Novi. And honestly, like with Tuscany, we played normally when we have a game night.
Oh, I've also done Burgundy solo too.
Right. Normally during a game night, like we'll play. We usually like have one main game we're gonna play, and then maybe we'll play like a party game or something after to kind of wind the night down. But when we played Tuscany, we played it like two times, right? And that like never happens.
Yeah. No.
Right. Like we never usually play a game twice in one night. But this game was so quick.
Especially because, like, it's an easy game to learn, but it is actually pretty complicated.
And there's a lot of cool strategy in it. And, and I think the first game was teaching you and Mike how to play. And, like, I'm not the rules guy. And I, took that burden on for you that one day.
Thank you. I do appreciate that.
And, I obviously didn't teach all the rules properly. But that's, you play one game to learn your mistakes, right? And then now I can go and play it no problem. Mm-hmm. And then the second game, we just got right back into it, and it was a lot of fun. Like, it was fun both games just to see like your strategy, what Mike's strategy was, and like how that differed between the two games. And then when we played our live stream, you just annihilated me, but that's okay. We won't talk about it.
No, we should talk about. I'll talk about actually. There's a reason why I annihilated you, and I kind of figured it out just
breaking the game, eh?
During this podcast. Yeah, so when we played Tuscany, it only took about, like, what, an hour?
Yeah, about an hour and 20 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, because
we cut the stream short too. That day too. So
when we played a 2-player, it was pretty quick. It was an hour.
Yeah.
But when we played it with 3 players, I felt like the first game was like an hour and a half, but then every game after was really quick.
Right.
So I actually really enjoyed that.
Yes.
It really hit the, classic. It felt like a classic board game. Whereas Burgundy is a very good game, but it took a long time.
Yeah, so I remember like we played, I don't remember the time we started, but like when we ended, it was after midnight. And we're like, holy crap, it's after midnight.
Yeah.
Because I think we started like 9:30, 10 o'clock maybe. And it was like almost going on like 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Which so it was his round, like, 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. I didn't feel like we were playing it slowly either.
No.
Maybe we could have been playing it faster. I don't know.
Well, the games, there's thinking in the game too, right? So if you have a person in your board game group that thinks,
I don't think that was a problem this time. I felt like
no, because Mike's usually that person for us.
right.
And I think because he played Tuscany, he kind of maybe got the gist of it. The same with me. The gist of Burgundy a little bit easier. But I feel like he had a really good strategy because didn't he win that game?
He did, yeah.
Yeah. So, he destroyed us.
Well,
and then you caught up a little bit, and then
I
didn't.
No. Well, no. I think I came in last.
Did you? I don't remember. But I remember he was like ahead for a while.
He just placed. He did a lot of he traded a lot of goods. So the cool thing about Burgundy is there's a lot of ways to win.
Right.
And he traded a lot of goods to win.
Right.
And it worked out for him. It didn't work out for us.
Well, you had a really good strategy for Tuscany, though, that you kind of nailed down, and you kind of like, I don't know, if the exploited it a little bit.
The points in Burgundy, you just get points whenever you get points. And there's 5 phases. So when you complete a section, you get the most points in Burgundy in the very first phase.
Right.
So you get 10 points plus whatever area you filled in.
Right.
In Tuscany, you always get 1, 3, or 6 points depending on what you fill in. But there's 3 phases to this game. So at the end of each phase, there's an inner circle and an outer circle. So the outer circle never resets back to 0, and the inner circle always, like, that's the final score that always takes the points from the outer circle.
Right.
So if you get maximum points right away in the first round, right, you're gonna win.
Right.
Right, which is similar to, and this is what I was saying earlier. I'm like, well, I kind of figured out what they're trying to do. So in Burgundy, if you get your points, the very first phase you get 10 points. Second phase you get 8, and so on. It goes down by 2s. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to simulate the exact same thing. They're trying to simulate that, you got points right away in the first round, and therefore you're ahead. And that's actually the key to both games, is that you want to score large areas as quick as possible to get the maximum points that stick with you throughout both games.
Right.
But I figured out in Tuscany that if I just aim for a farm plus 3, set up my cards so I have 3 farms in the light green in a row, I'm not only just like, and I did it, right? Didn't I complete? I completed the farm in the first turn, so I got like 6 plus all these extra point cards, basically.
Yeah, I think with the hardest part of Tuscany is the luck aspect of it too, right? So when you take a tile from the supply, you're replacing it with your stacks, and it's just, I would like to see what the ratio of colors are. But because I remember our first game, I always wanted a red, and you were like, either they weren't showing up or you were snagging them because you were right in front of me.
And then I was like purposely taking them so that they just get discarded, right?
Right. So I think, playing Tuscany first really allowed me to understand the rules of Burgundy easier, so that you didn't have to like over explain everything.
But there was still a lot more rules to. I guess it wasn't that there wasn't a lot of rules to know. It was just that some of the cards had so many different ways to play them,
right?
And that's what made it hard.
Right. Yeah, those yellow tiles in Burgundy were difficult to navigate.
We basically had to read the rules for each of them every time they came out, so everyone would know what's on the board.
Right. So you can strategize whether you're taking them. So, what are your overall thoughts about Tuscany, Mathieu?
Well, I'm gonna say that well, first of all, my thoughts are that Tuscany is a very amazing game. And these are very strong words. It's right up there with Catan.
Nice.
I think that if you like Catan and you see the appeal of Catan to your board gaming group, then you're probably going to really like Castles of Tuscany. And if you like Castles of Burgundy, you might appreciate that you can take Castles of Tuscany, bring it to your group, and be able to play it with more than just a hardcore group of gamers. You could play it with, your parents.
Right.
It's simple enough that I feel like I could play it with people who are not who are not heavy weighted board game people,
Nice.
They're not into Twilight Imperium. They're into Ticket to Ride. If you like Ticket to Ride, you like Catan, you probably would love it.
And then I'm not a big like Euro, quote unquote Euro style game fan, but playing this game or Tuscany like made me fall in love with it a little bit. I liked how simple it was to learn. I liked how simple it was to teach. And then I liked how it made me want to play the other games. So Matt, now we talked about some streamlined games. Is there any games in your collection that that are streamlined that you enjoy playing?
So recently a game did come out that is a streamlined version of a game. So the original game is Mysterium.
Right.
And if you don't know what Mysterium is, it's basically Clue, a better version of Clue. You have to guess the murderer and the location and the weapon used to kill the ghost. So it's a co-op game. And the ghost gives picture clues, which represent, colors or images or everything that's on the table. And you have to guess the ghost doesn't talk, but the other people do. So you're trying to get the people to guess who the murderer is or who the location is or who the weapon or what weapon was used.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem with this game is that it actually takes a long time to play and the setup is really large. But with the new game, the more streamlined version, they actually take out one of the phases. So they take out the weapon. So now all you're guessing is the person and location. And it's over 6 rounds. And which we failed on the stream earlier. And the setup was like, how long was that setup? How long did it take me to set up the game?
I don't know, 2 minutes.
Yeah. The regular game takes like 30 minutes because you have like a board and you have to make sure everyone gets the right stuff and you have to set it up in the board in phases. This was just so simple. They have these they replaced that hidden screen with like a code names-esque board which tells you where everyone has to guess.
Right.
And then you as the ghost, everyone sees the board in front of you. You just look at the board and then try to give clues from your hand. So it plays out the exact same. Like honestly, the games they're not identical, but they're very similar. Except that Mysterium Park is just so that I don't know if I said that, but Mysterium Park is the streamlined version of the game. Mm-hmm. And it is just so much easier to set up. The gameplay is the same and it's fantastic. And you're going to have a blast playing it. I do recommend playing it with more than 2 people. If you do play with 2 people, make sure that the guesser has 2 or 3 tokens to try and guess.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, it was super fun.
I think if I had to pick a game from my my collection, I'd probably say Duelosaur Island. Probably a good one. So it takes Dinosaur Island, makes it a 2-player game. It's mostly just drafting dice. And
they're all drafting dice.
Drafting dice, but spending just that's all you get, right?
Yeah.
And then some cards to make your park with dinosaurs and then the attractions and stuff. But that was a lot easier of a game to set up and play than Dinosaur Island was. So
takes up a lot less room too. The rules are quicker.
Yeah. Still took up a lot of room if you remember our stream.
Yeah, I do.
So I know you were trying to flip this around on me. Get this streamline. How can we? You were trying to throw something at the table at me here.
Everyone's trying to streamline games these days. Make them simpler for everyone to play. We should unstreamline a game.
Make a game tougher.
Yeah, like more
less
complicated.
Accessible.
Yeah. How will we do that? Let's do that right now.
So we go over the definition of streamlining. So you're taking something and you're making it more difficult.
Yes.
Okay.
Less profitable
and less efficient. All right.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Explain how this business model is gonna work. Let's go.
Well, let's take a classic game that everyone loves. It is the most streamlined game out there.
Poker?
No, well, that's not bad either. How about chess?
All right, chess. Let's do it.
Okay, so I thought it was a little bit topical. Everyone's watching the Queen's Gambit lately, so
I've never heard of this, but okay.
oh, it's this weird show that's like it's about following this chess woman champion who is basically she has psychosis, so she's taking drugs and she's playing like chess champions.
Okay.
It's not based on any real story whatsoever because psychosis is also another term for something similar to someone who has schizophrenia.
Okay.
So it's probably not going to happen. But anyways, they give her drugs. She's on drugs a lot. And apparently people love this show. And it's so popular that chessboards are selling out everywhere.
Okay.
So
Okay. Let's do it.
all right, so we need to
Clap
make this.
to them to make some chess.
Yeah, we
chess
need to
sales.
make this more complicated. So let's make it slightly.
Chess is already complicated. I haven't played chess since I was in the chess club in grade school.
Oh, were you there with Zach? You and Zach were in that?
Yeah, probably. I don't remember. I remember being in it like the years we could.
Man, imagine they had a board game club now. That would be cool.
That's an idea right there.
For schools, board
Yeah.
game club.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, if you have I know a lot of people are into board games are teachers, so there you go, throwing it out there.
There you go. All right, so how are you going to make chess unstreamlined? Let's do it.
Okay, well, first of all, chess is easy to learn, hard to master.
Right.
Right? You were saying it's super hard. I totally agree. So we need to make it even more complicated. Okay, we need to make it hard to learn and impossible to master. Okay, and if we could do that, we got a thing that's not going to make us any money at all.
All
That's
right.
where we're going.
Sounds good. Sounds like the overcomplicated version of Monopoly they just released.
Oh, the extremely long.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like you have like Monopoly and then Monopoly inside Monopoly. It's like Monopoly Inception. Oh, that's a good idea. Chess Inception.
Yes.
You play chess, but every piece is another game.
We've trademarked this already, so don't even think about it.
Yeah, Chess Inception. It's ours. Okay, well, first thing I think the first thing you need to do, you need to add more pieces.
Okay. So you got pawns, you got knights, you got rooks, bishops, kings, and queens. You want to add some gestures in there?
No, I want to add sweet thing. This is a marketing thing too, right?
Okay.
Like, we're making it complicated. We got to add like some sweet stuff. So how about like dragons?
Okay. So if you have a dragon, you need a dragon slayer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then if you like dragons, there's got to be something similar to dragons out there. What do you think that would?
You want something similar to dragons?
Like a wyvern.
Okay.
Like a wyvern,
I
right?
don't know what that is.
It's a dragon.
Okay. So you want a dragon slayer, another dragon.
Yes.
Okay.
You got it. Yeah. Maybe some ogres. Ogres are always cool.
All right.
Giant, they have like giant bats. And then we add some, nothing says easy like mathematician.
Okay.
So we're gonna have the mathematician piece. So maybe you have to do math before you even use it. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, you got to like calculate the angle of your attack.
The area underneath the curve. You need to know.
Yeah, the area under the curve.
You need to know integral calculus before you could actually play
Pythagorean theorem going on in there.
algebra. Yeah, you need to know all that.
I'm going back to grade 6 math. That's all I remember.
And then obviously you're gonna have samurai, ronin, and ninja.
All right.
Am I missing anything?
What about? I see. Matt's got a really funny answer written down here, and but I think it would be a good chess piece.
What the man bear pig?
Man bear pig. Because we don't know if it actually exists or not, right?
Well, that's the thing. Maybe you have to like hunt down man bear pig before you even use it in the game. Like you have to like take a picture of man bear pig, and then man bear pig is now a piece.
All right. So in chess, you're trying to eliminate the other player by removing their pieces from the board. So we've got all these extra pieces now. We got to move. So what's a chessboard? An 8x8?
I actually have no idea.
I think it's 8x8.
Is it 8x8? 10x10 maybe?
8x8, I think.
Okay.
So now we're adding 19 more pieces on there.
Well, maybe the chessboard's got to get bigger.
So 16 by 16?
Or maybe nothing says unstreamlined. Like, you have to select the pieces based on point value to place on the board before you play. Mm-hmm. Right? Because then you have to make all these decisions before you put the pieces on the board.
Okay.
Right?
So if all the pieces have values. Right.
And then you can't exceed maybe a certain value.
Okay.
I don't know, like maybe a wizard's worth 10 points. And all your pieces have to add up to 10,000 points. You need a big board, dude.
You need a big board. A lot of wizards. Well, if you have wizards, I mean, you're going to have spells.
Yes. So we should add just more cards.
Cards and chess. Okay.
Why not, right? I mean, you have to draw the card every turn.
The card should be like Magic the Gathering too, right? So you got to really get...
Yeah.
Oh, you have enough mana.
You're good at this. Yeah.
You should have enough mana to play the cards in order to move your wizard card to slay the dragon.
That says non-streamlined right there. Like you have to buy like Magic sets just to play this game.
Oh yeah, because it's a collectible card game, right?
It becomes now collectible. Yes, that's definitely unstreamlined. Yeah,
and we only make one card that can destroy the dragon. That's it. Only one person can ever win.
It's an ultra rare. Like you have to open 1 million packs to find it. Wow. Yeah. Well, and also like if you have Magic, Magic cards has like 1 million rules, right? So like, every card does something different. Every card has, you know what makes it unstreamlined? When you have a name for like a whole set of rules. Like in Magic they have like stealth or something, right? And you're like water walk. You're like what the F is water walk? Now I have to look up a whole other set of rules, memorize it just to remember what that means. I think that is what it should be. Oh, and then maybe environmental effects that you have to like remember when things happen. So like let's say you you have a stack, just like Magic. They call it the stack, right? So like, yeah, maybe you play a fireball after a dragon plays ice breath on the stack. And that means like, now your fireballs melt. But you have to look up a rule in a rule book to figure that out, but you may not even remember that.
You gotta roll for initiative while you're at it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some dice rolls in there too.
Right, yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
This sounds like it's gonna fly off the shelf.
Well, we don't want it to fly off the shelf, so if it doesn't, it's a winner.
Awesome. So what about moving, man? Like, how are we actually going to move?
Oh, you know what? Forget that one at a time garbage, right? Let's just do something sweet. Everyone's into simultaneous moves these days. Maybe we should add that to this game, right?
Right.
Pieces you just have to move, and then maybe the pieces don't line up properly, and like maybe one piece was going to be somewhere where you were going to go. It's kind of like a real-time battle. Like I'm going to punch here, but now you're gone and my fist hits like a wall.
Okay.
Right?
So how am I going to introduce this game to like, casual players, say like, Michaela or like Novi from our group?
You just set it up. And you just tell them that like, look, man, we're
here all night.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow. Just call your mom. You're not coming home tonight.
It's about the game, man. It's about learning complex systems and how to master them. That's what this is all about.
So how do we get checked? How does one checkmate the other?
I don't know. I didn't think this far ahead, dude. You have to check up like 17 rules before you even get to that answer. Does it make sense?
How about we make it so that the person who got checkmated is able to resurrect?
Yes. Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, like the game is like it's just about to end, but then they resurrect, but then get enhanced abilities. So it's like anime or Dragon Ball Z, right? They're like, right. Oh my god, I'm so powered up right now. I just died, but all my cards, all your cards flip.
Okay.
All your cards flip, and now you're in phase 2.
So like Moonflight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they get even better.
All right, so that Matt and I...
And then that will make it even longer.
Right.
So everyone's gonna want to play it.
Oh, thank you for that, Matthew. So Matt and I just created a game where I personally like the name Chess. I was a chest. Chess Inception.
Chess is a pretty sweet name.
Matt's got a chess of the man bear pig down here in our notes. Either way, look for it on the shelves sometime.
Yeah, that's the game we've been making for.
This is the reveal of the Big Friday Night game we've been alluding to in our podcast.
No, that is definitely not it, but that is hilarious.
I mean,
Chess of the man bear pig.
I mean, it would be kind of fun to take. You know, we always talk about, you know, now that we're getting into this YouTube thing, you know, there's a cool segment that we came up with. I'm not going to disclose it because I think it's good and that we should do it. But you know, this should be one of our segments where we take an easy game and make it complicated. I think that'd be fun.
Yes, I think that'd be great. Fun. Be a great
So
segment.
how do we make coup complicated, right? Like that'd be funny.
How do you make checkers complicated?
Just chess. All right, Matt, thanks for talking to me about streamlining games and kind of what that's all about. And we really appreciate Ravensburger for sending us a copy of the Castles of Tuscany. And thanks again to Solon from Tabletop Renaissance here in Windsor, Ontario, for giving us a copy of Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion to play and feature on our podcast and social medias. If you like what you hear, don't forget to hit subscribe on your favorite streaming platform or give us a review on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow us on our social medias at Friday Night Games _official on Instagram, at Friday Night GMS on Twitter. We have recently started doing live Twitch streams every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And check it out. We also got a new YouTube channel. So look us up on YouTube, and you can check us up on our website at fridaynight.games. If you want us to feature a game, or if you have a game that you'd like for us to show on our podcast and socials, shoot us an email at info@fridaynight.games. And remember, it's Friday night, and let's have some fun. Boop, boop.